afternoon and welcome back to Coffee with a Kick. I'm Xander, that's Keegan, and we've got a big weekend coming up here. I said in the last episode, it remains true that we've got two big headline barn burners coming up this weekend as far as end of the year positioning is concerned. But before we get there, we do have the little matter of getting through this Champions League action that has occurred on Tuesday and Wednesday. I say we just go ahead and dig in, because Tuesday we had Bayern Munich taking out Lazio 3-0, and Real Sociedad had to get that in one more time because they are now out of the tournament. PSG took care of them pretty handily, 2-1 in that one. Bayern, they came through for good old boy Tuchel, with Kane getting in the action, put himself back up, tied for first for the Golden Boot for the Champions League with that 38th and 36th minute goal. Really, Lazio didn't have anything going on in this. It never really felt like they had good options. There was a little bit of a press, but PSG basically had this handled after the first half. Harry Kane just put it away with his second half goal. I think that was the 68th minute. And then for the PSG and Real Sociedad, what you've said holds true. PSG goes the way Mbappe goes. He got the brace there in the 15th and then the 56th. And that 2-1 makes it seem closer than it was. Real Sociedad had an 89th minute goal by Marino. But other than that, PSG was pretty well in control of it, I felt like. With not a lot of good opportunities by Real Sociedad.
Yeah, it wasn't PSG that beat Real Sociedad. It was just Mbappe. His first goal was solo goal, dances around, tight angle. Pretty great. I mean, it was... Yeah. He scored all four of their goals in this fixture, and I think they're going to need that even more moving into the quarterfinals, because competition's only going to get more stiff no matter who they draw. But yeah, it really felt like their attack was Mbappe or bust. Yeah. Because I didn't feel like anyone else, maybe on a couple of corners, they had some chances, but no one else. And then Bayern, I mean, Kane really had two poacher goals.
For sure.
One was off of just a Guerrero miss kick, and the other one, just the goalie couldn't quite get there, couldn't quite grasp the ball, and Kane was there to just kind of tap it in. But yeah, Bayern, pretty much from minute one on, it felt like the first 20 minutes was the end of the match, not the beginning. You know how teams just kind of press a ton to get a goal? That was Bayern first 20 minutes. Watching that game, I was like, it must be stoppage time, because the other team's already backing into their goal as if Lazio was already playing park the bus by minute 2. So I think Lazio's game plan was not great. Immobile did have a chance, I think, in the 30th minute. It was like a glancing header, should have put it away, would have evened it back up. But yeah, Bayern, once they took the lead, they were just too much.
Yeah, looking back at it, Lazio 0 attempts on goal. That's never a good thing. And what was it? It was, I think the commentator in the PSG said about the first Mbappe goal, like when he's got that cow pasture out in front of him, just kick the ball up there and see what happens. And listen, if it works as well as that, why not? Yeah. You know, but like you said, if a team actually has a defender that can keep up with Mbappe and shadow him, then they don't have as much of a capability as some of these other top tier teams of constructive, creative play, working towards a goal. Very much like a Man City, like methodical, bang your head against a wall. We're not adjusting to what you're doing. We're just going to beat you because we're that good. That PSG does not have that ability to either change gears to another option or have something so successful that they can just stick with it no matter what. But, you know, unfortunately, you got both of those wrong. I got one of them right, the Bayern one right, because they did win. Now, it wasn't quite the 2-1 with going to penalties as I had thought. And then Real Sociedad did not draw, which we thought that they would do for both of us there. However, Wednesday was much better for you. You got a double dose of correctness on Wednesday with Real Madrid and RB Leipzig. Perfect pick there, 1-1 draw. And then neither of us got Man City winning 3-1. I had it 4-1, you had 4-0. But City have been leaking those goals, and they did in this one really randomly, as far as I'm concerned.
Counterattack.
Yeah, it was the one counterattack that went well for Copenhagen.
I mean, it was a very nice back heel. Like, it was a deserved goal.
Oh, yeah.
There was nothing going, and then, pass, they'll just back heel to the open guy. Good finish. Anderson should have saved it, though. It hit off his hand.
Yeah.
Should have saved it, but, second half, City looked like they were just cruising. They took off Rodri, and you could tell because Copenhagen started getting a few more attacks in there, and not having Rodri really. We put Sergio Gomez in Rodri's spot, and that clearly didn't work. Because we were stifled. We should have scored again, though. Several chances, but we were up 3-1. It was already done and dusted. So second half just kind of looked like we were playing around until the whistle was over.
Yeah, I was watching on the simulcast for both of those, and I only heard the Man City match get audio put on it maybe 3 times in the whole second half. There was not a lot going on as far as effective goal opportunities. There may have been a shot or two in the second half that ended up being on goal.
All 3 shots on target were goals. We didn't have another shot on target after that.
Didn't have another shot on target. Holland got his goal. Akanji's really nice goal. Not what you would expect from him on the volley. It was really good. Man on his shoulder. Like, it was not like it was uncontested. And then Alvarez, really after the 9th-minute goal, you're like, okay, I mean, this is basically over. City's up, what was it, at that point, 5-1 on aggregate. Yeah, that's not changing. That's not going to happen. And City kind of comes together. Holland got his right before the half. As far as the other one, I mean, it was on audio more, but there wasn't a lot of excitingness, to use a terrible made-up word. A lot of energy in this Real Madrid RB Leipzig match. 1-1 draw, both goals occurring in the first half, if I recall correctly. Let me get that pulled up. Oh, sorry, early in the second half. Yeah, first half, not Leipzig looked pretty good, to be fair to them. They played well in this match, but they just did not have that finishing touch to put them into any sort of into a winning position. Only 2 saves in the whole match. 5 saves across both teams. So not a lot of good shots. And even though Leipzig had a good response right after the Vinicius Jr. goal in the 65th minute, they just couldn't get anything else going.
Yeah, with all the injuries on Real Madrid's defense, their defense and just team play impressed me. Mm-hmm. Only holding Leipzig, pretty free-scoring team, to only 1 goal across 2 matches is pretty good. It was nervy, though. There at the end, I really thought Leipzig was going to get a second. They were pressing pretty hard. They didn't. Ancelotti, after the game, says they can't be put in that position again because he knows the competition's only going to get better. Yep. So Real Madrid, they look like they could fall apart in a match where they play a good team because there were some pretty bad passes there in their midfield that led to some almost Leipzig goals, but they got it done in the round of 16.
Yeah. You can't give. I mean, even if it's PSG, you can't give that sort of opportunity away because they will make you pay for that. So we'll see if Real Madrid can get a little bit more healthy. Maybe we'll see. They may throw their manager in jail before then because Spain's always after those tax dodgers, man. I think, what is it? He's looking at 14 years or something, possibly, for his tax implications. But,
it seems like anyone who is a big star, like Ronaldo, Messi all got in trouble. Luis Suarez. I think they just have some hidden clauses in there where they just throw out whenever they want to. I don't know.
Yeah, they're like, listen, we're running a little bit short on our budget. Let's go try to put a rich soccer player or affiliated soccer person in jail. That's kind of how it works in Spain, it feels like. But yeah, that wraps up. We both went 2-2 this week for Champions League. So listen, I maintain even keel. That's a little bit of a step up for you, but we'll see if we can improve on that next midweek with a much more competitive slate of games. I mean, let's see. Porto's up 1-0 and there's Barcelona, Napoli draw. Inter's up 1-0 and PSV and Dortmund are on a draw 1-1. So it's wide open next week. Wide open next week. All good ones. Yeah. But speaking of good ones, we will now head to our Premier League action coming up later on Saturday. Let me adjust my screen so I'm in the right place. Starting off with Manchester United hosting Everton at Old Trafford at 7:30 a.m. How do you think the Red Devils do here?
This will be a hangover game. I think Man U was really excited going into the Etihad. I think they thought they had a really good chance of beating Man City, even with their injuries. And I think they're going to be missing Højlund again. I think Martinez is still hurt. Maguire's still hurt. I think this could end up being 1-1. That's what I'll go with, because I think that was a big momentum shifter in United's season. Like, they were on I think they were on like a 5 or 6 match unbeaten streak. And then to get kind of embarrassed there in the second half by City, I think that'll do something mentally to them. So I have Everton sneaking in a draw 1-1.
Yeah, they do. Højlund's out at least until next week is what I'm seeing here. That's expected return. And they're missing a lot of guys up top that could really be useful. I still think they get it because Everton has not been impressive of late. I think they still get it 2-1 just because they're at home. I don't have confidence in Everton scoring more than 1 goal because they haven't done it since, I think, December. Let me see when that is. Great. Let me just click on it. That'll be better. No, it was January. Late January when they played Tottenham, they drew 2-2. Early January. Oh, or early February. Excuse me. I'll get my dates right eventually. But since then, 0 goals, 1 goal,
At
1
some
goal,
point
1
in
goal.
the past.
Yeah.
At some point in the past, they scored 2 goals.
Yeah, but they have not scored more than 1 goal. So unless they can hold Man U to 1, which they may very well be able to, I think that United does take it. Then moving on to the 10 a.m. slot on Saturday, we've got Bournemouth hosting Sheffield United at Vitality Stadium. You know, every time that a team looks down and sees Sheffield United lining up across from them, they have to feel a little good. They have to feel a little good about themselves. Bournemouth has hit a nice streak here. Nice set of games because they've played Burnley last week, won 2-0. I think that they carry on and win this week 2-0 against Sheffield United. And it could be worse than that. I mean, Sheffield United, what was the stat you said that last week was the
8th match.
8th match, giving up at least 5 goals. I don't think Bournemouth has that many goals in them, but 2-0 I feel is a nice conservative option here for this match.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's 4-2. Sheffield gives up a lot of goals, and I think a team like Bournemouth, they can put a couple in. But yeah, I mean, their defense, I don't know what else you can do. And Bournemouth wants to be the type of team that possesses and really just shrinks the field, really gets in those like through balls in the final third. I think it could get out of hand pretty quick, but I'll say 4-2. Yeah,
I just don't trust Sheffield to get any points the rest of the season is what it boils down to. Unless they've already played Luton twice, and I think they've played Burnley twice already. So not looking good for anything else. Speaking of Luton, they go to Selhurst Park in good old London town and take on Crystal Palace at 10 a.m. as well. How do you think do you think either of these teams come out with a full 3?
Reverse fixture, Luton took it 2-1 at Kenilworth Road. I think they do it again. And I think they win 3-2 because they have been free scoring. They have not always won the games they've scored a lot, but they seem to have figured something else out on offense. Palace still has several guys out that are pretty key. I think that'll end up being I mean, Luton, they know they have to start winning to stay up. So I think they're going to be extra free when it comes to the attack. And they've had some good wing play. Their wing play has been pretty good. It's been opening up the middle. Crystal Palace struggles with speed on the wings. So I think they can take it 3-2.
I'm still seeing that Jordan Ayew might be back for this one and may be limited in a limited role, but I was operating under the assumption that he will be back. He's currently looks like 50-50. So I have this as a 1-1 draw for Luton still, though. I think they get 1 point out of it. But, I went with 3-3 last week for it. They didn't quite get there. I think that this one ends up being a little bit more subdued because Ayew isn't coming back at full strength. So they're still lacking up there at the top for Crystal Palace. And they have not been scoring great of late. I mean, they had 3 against Burnley, but again, it's just Burnley. Prior to that, one goal. So they've been stuck at that 1 goal aside from a match against Burnley. And Luton has been playing better. Like you've said, they've been playing better recently. They just have to make sure that their defense can play as good as their offense at some point. Don't know if they can do it, but we'll see. Then to one that I'm not excited about. Wolves go at Molineux, take on Fulham. And I'm just looking at, Wolves do not have a lot of injuries, but the injuries they have are pretty substantive. That's my problem. Hwang, he's out for this one. He may not be back until looks like the 13th of April, so that's not great. Cunha still out till the end of the month. Neto and Jose Sa are possible. It looks like I think Neto's probably going to play, and they're feeling pretty confident about Jose Sa, so that's hopeful. But still, missing Cunha and Hwang up top is definitely cutting into us. It'll be a lot of Neto and his name escapes me at the moment. Nope, almost had it. Anyways, I think that Fulham is feeling pretty good about themselves right now. Again, they come through fits and spurts, sort of. But I think that they just beat. They're on a 2-game win streak after a competitive match against Villa. I think they take this 2-0 against my Wolves.
The last time these two teams played, a late penalty lost it for Wolverhampton. I think that Wolverhampton is probably watching the film right now because it's, time to watch film. And I think they're watching that match. And they're seeing how they lost, how they were gypped, how they should have drawn. I think at home, the Molineux crowd's going to be rocking. The Portuguese prodigy, Pedro Neto, will put in a brace effort.
Ooh.
And win the match 2-1.
Wow.
Fulham gets taken down. Wolves maintain their spot ahead of them. But it's going to be a good one. Both teams are very even, 3 points separating, same goal difference. I think that Wolves have the stuff to pull it out.
I certainly hope so. I don't trust our attack right now.
Whenever you pick them to lose, they typically win. So,
well, it's what is it? I'm just hedging my bets right now. Hedging my bets.
Yeah.
Then to finish up Saturday, we've got Arsenal hosting Brentford at the Emirates Stadium. The past 2 times they've played, it's actually been relatively close, which bodes well for Brentford. But do you think that holds with Arsenal being on the scoring streak that they're on?
I don't.
Yeah.
I think it'll be not quite 6-0. I have it as 3-1 Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that previously I had thought that they probably wouldn't play a ton of starters on the weekend if their Champions League was coming up. They played all their starters the last time.
Yeah.
I think they won like 5-0. It won't be that bad, but I think Brentford is just they're a little late to the party. I think that they're starting to play a little better, but it's just an awkward point in the season where they're just kind of trying to maintain Premier League status. So I think they're okay with losing this one, but they're going to try to keep it close. I think it's 3-1. Arsenal score a couple early, kind of coast. I don't see it being very competitive.
Yeah, that sounds exactly how I had it. I had it 3-1 as well. Just Arsenal is somewhat of a juggernaut right now in the Premier League. And the only thing keeping them down is that the other teams are playing just as well. Well, not just as well, but they're getting the same results at least. And I think the Arsenal continues it here. They're at home. Brentford's been decent, not great. And Arsenal, they've scored, what was it, like 20-something goals. Let's see, 6-4, that's 10, that's 21. 21 goals in their last 4 matches. And that's, there's ones on the other side that are just as lopsided as that. So I think it keeps rolling for them. That then moves us over to Sunday with the first of the barn burners, 9 a.m. Aston Villa at Villa Park in Birmingham takes on Tottenham Hotspur. And this one is a fight for a surefire Champions League spot. We'll see if it ends up being 5th also getting in. But right now this is big for Spurs because they currently are down 5 points on Villa, which is starting to get to be quite a gap for this point in the season. So if Tottenham can get all 3 here, that makes things much more competitive for that 4th position. However, we are at Aston Villa's home turf for this one at Villa Park. And Aston Villa, against the big teams, has played very well at home. I've got this as a gritty 1-0 victory for Villa against Spurs, holding them in check and keeping their spot in 4th, solidifying essentially 4th position for them going into the last 10 matches of the year.
It's been interesting to watch how Villa versus the big teams sound defensively. I mean, they are just a unit. They are together. And then they play teams like Luton, and they almost lose. They almost draw. They give up 2 goals, 3 goals. I think it's going to be 1-1. I think there are enough injuries on Aston Villa's side that could – I mean, their starting 2 center backs are out, Mings and Diego Carlos. Buendia is out. Their starting midfielder, Kamara, is out. He's usually their CDM. Tottenham's, besides Richarlison's pretty full force, but I think it being at Villa Park, them getting a draw is going to feel like a win because it's still going to maintain that 5-point gap. And I think that'll end up being pretty crucial near the end.
Yeah. Villa, I'm sure, would also take the draw. Just don't drop points at home to those sides is what you're looking for. Then to Brighton at the Amex hosting Nottingham Forest. Fun fact here, Brighton has now lost me 10 picks in a row. I'm on another 10-pick streak here with Brighton now. They are now my worst team thanks to this latest streak. They have supplanted Everton as my worst team. I'm 7-20 when picking Brighton. So I'll let you go first and see how I feel about it.
Brighton also has some injuries. Matoma, he's been a guy that's been out. He's been one of their main guys. He's out. João Pedro is out. Solly Marsh is out. It's Nottingham. They're not good. They feel like they should be better than 17th. I don't know how they're in 17th. I feel like because they started the season off so well, it's a weird spot. I think I have Brighton winning 3-1. I just think it's a little too much for Nottingham. Brighton's still going to play the way they want to play. They're still going to possess. They're still going to attack. And Nottingham, they're kind of like the poor man's West Ham. They really thrive on the defense and then lob it up to their big strikers, hopefully get a counterattack goal. It could be worse than 3-1. I just don't think Nottingham's very good. I'm going Brighton win.
Yeah, Nottingham is not very good. I agree. But I think this one is take it with a grain of salt because I just told you I've missed 10 in a row. I think Nottingham Forest takes it 3-2 here at the Amex. Mainly because that's what I feel like. Because the last one went 3-2 opposite earlier in the season when they were at Nottingham Forest's place. City ground. Yep, there we go. City ground. Brighton took it 3-2. I think this is a true reverse fixture. So Nottingham Forest takes it 3-2. Mainly because Matoma missing still. He was so good for Brighton earlier in the season, and they are missing him up top. I feel like a lot. With their current, every now and then I'm looking through these lists, and Sheffield, you got to kind of discount Sheffield and Burnley results, because outside of that, they've scored 1 against Tottenham, 1 against Everton, 0 against Fulham, and then you just take out that 5-0 victory against Sheffield United. It's once again, it's a Brighton pick, so they're my new West Ham. I don't want to pick for them, but I have to do it. This is the last one I filled in for my picks this week, and that speaks to how confident I am in it. Speaking of West Ham, they host London Stadium, Burnley, also at 10 a.m. on Sunday for what I expect to be just a very nice, clinical 3-0 victory for West Ham. West Ham's on the come up here in the last couple weeks. Last 2 weeks specifically, since they had dropped at least 3 in a row, including a 6-0 loss to Arsenal. But Burnley's not good. And West Ham has been taking care of not good sides, except for the weird 2-0 loss to Nottingham Forest. That was strange. But I think that they take it 3-0 to Burnley. Burnley, like we've said many times before, they will possess, but they just don't have any finishing third. They don't have it. It's not there. Conozco how to score. Golazo. Whatever. I don't know why it turned into terrible Spanish. But how do you think... Does Burnley show any sort of resilience in this one against West Ham?
I have to keep it short and sweet. 2-0. West Ham victory. The bubbles will blow, and Burnley also blow. So they'll be just like the bubbles, floating in the wind, floating away back to the championship.
Back to the championship.
They shouldn't even have a striker position on their team. That's how bad their forwards have been. Scratch the position. All you have are midfielders and defenders, because that's all that they ever use.
That's the result I see on the field. And then to the really big one, 11:45 on Sunday at Anfield in Liverpool. Liverpool hosting Manchester City. 1v2 matchup. 1 point separating the sides. What do you have going on here?
I think because of the injuries, I'm not being biased. City wins 2-1. I think not having Alexander-Arnold, not having Alisson, that's a big one. Not having Matip, not having Gravenberch, not having Diogo Jota. Those are 5 key players on their team. And Liverpool is good enough to still operate without them. But I think with City starting to get a little bit more momentum, Haaland scoring, De Bruyne is providing 4 assists in games again. I just think that we are going to be a little bit more fine-tuned and as a unit than Liverpool. The reverse fixture is a draw, 1-1, and that was a full-force Liverpool team. So it's hard to think that City will lose. They could. I think it'll be 2-1. Maybe I am biased. I don't know.
I had this as 2-1 Liverpool because Mo Salah will be back. So he will be available for the side. But, man, looking at that Man City injury list, all you got on there's Jack. That's all you got on there, which is, that's... Looking at Liverpool, they've got 9. I mean, one will be coming back. Like I said, Mo Salah will be coming back.
I'll move it to your heart.
I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it to 2-2. I'm going to move it to 2-2. From a loss to a draw, which, since you're away, I think City will take. They would prefer a win, I'm sure. Obviously, duh. That's stupid not to say that they would not prefer a win. But I think going into Liverpool, I think you'd be disappointed. I'm just thinking it through. They are a diminished side. Liverpool will be very happy with the draw, with how much they are missing. Yeah, because it is quite a number. I mean, you're almost missing a full side in your injury report, so that'd be tough. But I'm excited to watch it. It should be a good match. I mean, we've got 1v2. It's obviously going to be a good match. And City, I mean, they were essentially perfect in the first half, aside from that one counterattack that they got against them there in the midweek. And that was with a side that, everybody got taken off at halftime, essentially. But we will see. 1-1 draw at the Etihad. We'll see. Maybe the 2-2 will be interesting. And then speaking of 2-2 draws, that's exactly what I have for Chelsea and Newcastle. Mainly because I don't have a good feeling about how this is going to go. Chelsea, very up and down. They're a young squad. They have not settled into any sort of particular rhythm as far as the season is concerned. They've drawn their last 2 matches, one of them against Man City. So, oh, that's good. And then they draw Brentford. Not so good. And Newcastle, let's see, how is their injury report looking? I hadn't looked at it ahead of time, but they've still got 7 on that. Well, one of them being a suspension. Let's see, anybody coming back? Looks like they might get Target back. But I don't think that they will be able to put away a full 3 points here at Chelsea's home turf.
Yeah, this one, interesting because there are 2 very volatile teams. Mm-hmm. You could have a 2-week stretch where Chelsea plays 3 games. They look like the best Chelsea side you've seen in a long time. And then the next 2 weeks, they lose to Nottingham Forest, draw Burnley. You never know. Newcastle, the fact that this is 8v11 tells you a lot about the season for these 2 teams. At Stamford Bridge, I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. I think neither team has the stuff to finish it, but I think at Stamford Bridge, Newcastle doesn't win. But I think it could be an exciting match. Both teams want to play offense. Chelsea especially wants to get out and run and pass it around. So I think it'll be exciting 2-2.
Yeah. So we are in concurrence there. We will see how that is. That is the week that will be match day 28, with some very consequential matches coming down the pike. So keep your eyes looking out for that this weekend. But before we get out of here, we have to resolve our trivia question. Remind me what that is. Is something about something, I believe is what it was.
Yep, something about something. Which current player has the most appearances in the Premier League?
That's right. Which player currently has the most appearances in the Premier League recently overtook a separate player also still active, is what I believe it was the implication of what you're saying. And my guess, and this is just because he has been around forever and a day and playing, is Virgil van Dijk is who I have, comes top of mind for me for Premier League appearances.
You would be wrong in that.
That's too bad.
Yeah, the current player, he's number 2 on the all-time list as well, is James Milner.
Boy, yeah,
Milner.
Was not going to come up with that name for this one, just because he's bounced around a little bit, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
So. And he was on City, then Liverpool, and I believe he's on another team currently. I forget which team he's on, but he's been injured a little bit this year. Is he on Brighton? Hold on, I got it here. Yeah, he's on BHA. That's what I thought. Yeah, he's on BHA. Brighton.
On
Brighton, so he's at
currently.
634 appearances. He is 19 away from passing Gareth Barry for number 1. So he'll probably he'll probably just play until he passes him.
Yeah.
And then retire.
And then hang up them boots.
But yeah, he started for City for 5-6 years. Started for Liverpool, key bench player. So He was on West Brom at one point. So he's been there a while. I think he's 38, 39 now.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is quite a few appearances. What was the number one more time?
634.
634 appearances. That is a large number. Boy, I was trying to find... Yeah, go ahead.
Even if he had played in every single game up to this point, all 38 every single year, it'd be at least 16 and a half years. So
wow.
He hadn't played in every game in every season. So I think he's been around for 20 plus years.
That is a considerable amount. Good on James Milner. We'll see if he hits that all-time record here in the next it'd be early next season if he sticks around and Brighton stays up. They'll be fine. They're at 39. But we'll see if he is able to get appearances there early next year and get over that hump. But until we see that, until we are through this Matchday 28, why don't you go ahead and make sure you grab some coffee, watch some soccer, and we'll see you on the other side.